Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today we are HoDiGaLe's. Yeah, we are HoDiGaLe's. And we've all just
I think it sounds like an ancient language that's been resurrected. HoDiGaLe's. Do you speak HoDiGaLe's?
Oh, indeed, HoDiGaLe's. So, as usual, we were catching up backstage, and sometimes there's little delays and stuff. So please, ladies, please continue the conversation you were having, and please show that picture, Lady G, of what you showed us just now, and then I'll introduce the show.
Oh, you mean the Hoagie one?
Look at this one.
This is so bad. I murdered poor Hogarth.
Oh,
No,
I think it's cute beyond belief.
I like it.
Poor Hogarth.
Oh, well, thank you so much, and welcome everyone to HoDiGaLe's. I can't even say it myself.
HoDiGaLe's, I think you'll find.
HoDiGaLe's, yes, HoDiGaLe's.
HoDiGaLe's.
You can see there are 4 of us today, and we have an action-packed show. So what we'll be doing today, I thought, because there's 4 of us, I thought we'll have 4 questions, just so that we've got time to discuss each question.
Oh, good idea. Yeah.
Go on our tangents and stuff like that, but still, so we've got enough time, but without going over time. And I just had to quickly get the show started because the ladies were getting stuck in, and I was like, "This is gold. We need to share this with
we'll be naughty behind the scenes.
Naughty behind the scenes. We've got lots of people with us already, so I'll do a few quick shout outs, and then we'll just get on with the show.
Live.
Indeed. So we've got Sharon Saipi, Annette Turcott, Light Vocation. Oh, we've got a donation. That's just
oh, thank you, Catherine. That's very, very kind.
Thank you. We've got, who else? Flora D. We have got, oh gosh, there's so many of you here. We've got this Linda Francis, Barb Moody. Oh, just become a new member. I can see Zendo and Justin's mum, and many new people, and many of the people that regularly join us. So first of all, thanks so much. And we have to see where this show is going to go, because as you know, we have 3 feisty ladies here with great talents and opinions. And just to start off the show, this one, we have to talk about Boris Johnson.
Oh, we do. And for those who aren't aware, he's been hauled over the coals because they kept having parties during the lockdown at Downing Street.
Oh.
And I don't know if you know the fine print, but they ran out of alcohol at one of these parties, and they sent an underling to Sainsbury's, the local shop, with a suitcase, so they could bring all the alcohol past the police at the front of 10 Downing Street. It's like boarding school.
Yeah. But you know what, Lena and dear watchers, there's even more. That came out yesterday. And what it turns out, so you can imagine, like, let's just rewind. Let's just do a little flashback for everyone. We're talking like, summer, like 2020, stuff like that. Everyone was scared to leave their house because they thought they were going to be struck down dead, with the virus. You couldn't do anything. Even if you could go outside, you could exercise for an hour, and you could only meet up with one other person 2 meters apart outside for a certain amount of time. They were arresting people on benches. Yeah?
Yes.
They were arresting people on benches and stuff like that. And what has emerged is that Downing Street, along with Boris, has been having party after party after party. At least 12 recorded.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
At least 12. And what has emerged yesterday is that, so he had to apologize in a parliament, and no one took it seriously. Turns out that they've been partying every Friday. Was drinks and parties day at the height of lockdown, even having a party before the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral. Do you remember when the Queen was on her own, doing her bit, trying to show an example? They were
and they're chug-a-lugging down at the party.
Absolutely. So they brought a fridge. There's pictures of them buying this fridge, which 36 bottles of booze. 36 bottles of booze. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So Prime Minister's questions was just an absolute farce. I have never seen a Prime Minister go through such a drubbing in my life. And today there was a protest outside of Parliament with people dressed as Boris.
Ah.
I'm dressed as Boris partying.
Boris.
That's bad.
And they're all saying, we're at a work party. I didn't know that this, because he's saying, I didn't know I thought I was at work.
Yes, it was a work meeting. Oh, that's hilarious. Go the Brits.
Yeah. Look at that. So
too
he
funny.
is in an absolute state of ridicule right now.
Good.
Absolute ridicule. So let's pull some cards and just have a look. What is Boris's future?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Well,
Look what I've got at the base of the pack.
Oh.
Before I even shuffle.
Oh, dear.
All right. So while everyone's shuffling, I'll do a few more readouts.
Yes.
So we've got Barb Moody. Who else do we have? Sheila Edwards, Light Vocation. Annette Turcott. Butterfly Kisses Healing. Wonderful. What great name.
Oh, what a lovely idea. Butterfly kisses.
Chikanda Thomas. Marjorie Lara. Patricia Franzino. Nice to see you again. Donna L. And many more. Thelma Schaefer is another one too. And let's see. Which order shall we... Okay, so shall we do... Dianne, normally you're very quick with your cards. So how about we do yourself, Lady G, Lena, and then I'll go last. How about that?
Sounds like a plan. So the first card I get, Ace of Swords, the truth is going to start coming out. People are going to become more enlightened about this. So this may just be the tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, we know about the parties, but we didn't know about this. And so I'm kind of feeling like, okay, there's more that's coming out. I feel like he is not in a happy home. He understands that, what has happened, and he's not feeling so grand about it at the moment. He is trying to persevere. He feels like this wounded man with the bandage on his head. Like, man, I took a few blows, and I'm just trying to hang in there. And for some reason, he's starting to worry about money. Because this is usually what the Queen of Pentacles means for me, is the person starts to worry about money. So I think things are getting a bit worse for him. I also get the card of grief, sorrow, regret, remorse, depression. So it's really starting to, I think, hit home, followed by the death card. I think for him, I don't usually think it means literal, but, of his political career, like this could have a real impact on him. I think he's going to have to face the music, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is what I get.
Well, what I got underneath of it all, rapidly he was partying and karma is coming around. So what we have is what I got for you as well. The Ace of Swords. The truth is coming out. Challenges. This is going to be a painful time. Okay. Rapidly coming. It's time for him to hit the road for something new and try to make some sort of a long-term, benefit somewhere. But yeah, they're exiting him out and hit the road. Yep.
Okay. Well, my spread kicks off with the party. This is the Three of Cups. This is the various parties. Because they're, perverse public school boy, they're probably all cross-dressing with a lampshade on their heads. You can imagine what would be going on.
Yeah,
And
somebody
then-
here said there was coke and crowd surfing.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I know. Well, there's no coke and crowd surfing in these cards because he then gets the 9 and 10 of swords,
Oh.
just in case he doesn't get it the first time, right?
Oh.
Wheel of Fortune. This is turning, and on the bottom, Judgment.
Wow.
So he's going to party his way into oblivion.
Wow.
That's a great deck. What deck is that?
Oh, thank you. It's the R Black deck. They're very
Ooh.
beautiful. I've been waiting for them for 2 years, hand painted by this very talented artist.
Those are wonderful.
But he's only produced a few. I mean, I just love his style. You know,
that's very cool.
They're just gorgeous. So they're
Yeah.
called the Black deck.
The black deck. That's a wonderful deck.
There's a deck on Instagram that I saw. In fact, it's just seeing that has reminded me I must try and get in contact with that person again with just sensational tarot cards. Okay, but what do I
What
get?
have you got, Hogarth?
Similar energy. So first of all, if this is about Boris, look who turns up. The false knight. Yeah. The false knight. Yes, this is the man. Like you turn, usually not always a man, but this is the person who turns up on their chariot, bearing what? False gifts. Yeah, but ultimately, what happens is they leave you in the middle of the night, jilted, with a bun in the oven, so to speak, and having to deal with everything else that has come as a consequences of these lies. Yeah. So and
he's
again,
probably got fishnet stockings under his armor.
And
absolutely.
all I see with that, the minute you hold it up, him over there with the drink wherever he's going. He's just
Quite
in the
literally.
hand.
There's Boris, always with a cup in his hand, always with a cup in his hand, having a little little drinky poo. The trouble is, the secrets are coming out. What? There was an enemy in the camp. Yeah, someone had to have leaked those emails. Oops. I wonder if this could be Dominic Cummings' revenge. Who knows? But there was an enemy in the camp, and of course, this can also refer to air, which means legal things, but also ideas, exchange of information, emails, etc., stuff like that. Pages always bring messages, so he's having to use his strength. Yeah, this is almost a bit like what was it that you had, Dianne? Was it the 9 of Wands, where he's trying to kind of battle through?
Yes, he's trying to persevere.
So here he is. He's he's having to tap on his inner strength and resources. And this man has no shame. I mean, I think it's just astonishing. The fact that he hasn't gone already. If you saw PMQs, it was murder. Literally murder on the dance floor. Anyway, so what comes next? Stinky fish.
Oh, no.
Yeah. All the stinky fish is coming up. All the stuff about the parties, the licentiousness, all the naughtiness and everything like that. It's all coming out, but it's bad news. Yeah, it's bad news. And it's shedding an insight on what the clandestine hidden agendas and all of that stuff that was going on in the government all along. So this also needs to make us think about certain policies and stuff like that have come out. There was a guy that resigned. I forgot to take his name, but he was the chief Brexit negotiator, and he's just accused the government of COVID theatre.
Ooh.
So more to come. Yeah, more to come. So anything else, ladies, that you would like to add to that?
Well, I think we've got a motor on. We've got so much to cover.
No, indeed. Okay, so the next question. So as usual, folks, ladies don't know what I'm going to ask. This is going to be an international question. Again, I mean, mine is for the American audience or other audiences. Obviously, the UK is international, but here's another one. Okay, so what does everyone think about the future of Novak Djokovic?
I did read on him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This has been asked by Ava and Isadora. Both ended up asking the same question. And it was directed particularly at yourself, Lena. So,
well, indeed. And let me say, as an Australian, I am particularly unimpressed. Today's Sunday here. And they've convened a panel of judges. What would it cost us, the taxpayer, to drag out a panel of judges on a Sunday to say no? I mean, they could just do it in a text.
Right.
But he lied. He lied.
It turns out
he went to Spain last week. He forgot that.
Oh dear. Oops. Now, I mean, for me personally, looking at this, I do feel that the level of bile and vitriol thrown at his way, I do think it is rather epic. Let's just say that. But he has.
He had his supporters in the beginning going, he's the defending champion and he's got his exemption, except he didn't have an exemption. And after the Spain episode was revealed,
oh dear,
he just went stone cold.
Well, so let's see. Now this is going to have Now I'm a big tennis fan. I used to play for many years. I started playing when I was around about 7, 8, up until about 25. Yeah, so I'm a huge.
Oh yeah, you're a real player.
Huge. And I used to play county tennis and stuff like that. So I'm very curious to see what you get. So Dianne, I know you read on Djokovic, but the story has evolved since.
And it's kind of the same. I'm not getting anything profoundly different. I mean, first of all, 10 of Swords, it's okay. So now we're getting some synchronicity here. And so I know he is feeling betrayed. I know from his point of view, but I would also suspect that a lot of his fans and a lot of people that watch tennis and care about tennis also feel betrayed by this whole system. I would imagine some Australians would feel rather upset about this whole situation. Obstacle for him is he can't even sleep at night. He is stressed, worried, he's anxious. He is feeling all sorts of negative emotions. Judgment is going to be passed. And when it does, it leaves him feeling like a victim, like his hands are tied, like he can't do anything. And then here he is going.
Wow.
So my reading really isn't much different for him. And like I said, when I did the original reading, I mean, I know nothing about tennis. I never even heard of him before. I don't know anything about this. So it's a real cold read, but I pretty much got the same thing twice now.
Wow. Fascinating. So are you done? Can we go to Lady G?
Yep.
So
Lady G,
what do you have for us?
Okay, well, I'm doing a different read this time, but the truth is coming out, some light on it, that this is his cross to bear. Okay. Yeah, underneath of it, guarded because of all this nonsense. He's tried to get away with something, tried to get away with it. So now he's on kind of lockdown, Retreatville, and this is a painful thing for the people that are watching, that are, engaging in it.
Wow. Okay, so Lena, what do you have for us?
Yeah, well, you'd have to say it's not looking marvelous for Novak from where we're all sitting. Right? This is him. It's been a painful experience, like being tattooed. He'll be made a last-minute offer, but doesn't rock his boat, and the 10 of Swords. So the problem is, if you're a seriously famous person and you don't want to be vaccinated, you have to be really vigilant with your paperwork, right? Had he been really vigilant, he wouldn't be in this position.
Yeah.
And Serbia, the Serbian government, is unhappy with him because after he tested positive, he went and gave awards to hundreds of children before he went to Spain and lied about it. So he's done it himself,
Oh dear, gosh. That's a tricky one. Thank you too for Liz for your donation. Thank you. We also have Bronx Sage, and I think there was another one, but I think it vanished. And we've got lots of you here now, so we're up to 839 who are joining us.
Fantastic! What did you get, Hogarth?
Oh, This is interesting. Okay, here we go. Look at this. He is, look at that. It's so obvious. He's feeling incredibly embattled. Yeah, very embattled. But here, when it's the right way up, this is like the perseverance and, you know, trying to keep forward. But this can, when it's reversed, it can mean feeling overwhelmed. You can let the way the battle has become so great, he feels overwhelmed. What's the obstacle? Australia has fallen out of love with him. Yeah, they're like, no home here, my friend. See you later. Yeah, no skipping, no happiness. And he's going to have to return, of course, back to Serbia. But it could also show maybe the reception he gets when he gets home, because this is the obstacle position, may not be so great because of those pork pies and little fibs that have come out. Yeah. And what's caused this? As we know, this is about passion going forward in a forthright way, but it's reversed, which can mean what? Petulance. This can be the card of petulance. This can be the card of being not checking, not looking before you leap. You know, when you were talking about the paperwork, Lena?
Yes.
So we can see here, someone rushed things and did a botched job. Yeah. Too cavalier. It was too cavalier.
Yes.
Yeah. In regards to what? The virus.
Yeah.
We know the Queen of Cups represents the virus, but particularly when she's upside down. So because of COVID, being cavalier about COVID, not making sure the paperwork was correct, it's blown up in his face. And what was it that he tried to do? A bit of manipulation. Yeah. So of course, indeed, when the card is the right way up, we know this is someone who's using their powers, using every skill that they've got. But this can mean skullduggery. This can mean manipulation. This was maybe someone who overestimated their powers and overplayed their hand. It would have been better for him to actually skip and just say, I don't meet the criteria. I'm so sorry. I can't defend my title this year. And everyone would have been like, you know, oh, please come, maybe. Do you know what I mean? You know, he tried it another way, but instead he kind of forced his hand and it is blown up in his face. Oh, dear. Right. Does anyone else have anything to add to that before we move on?
Well, Fortress Australia, you know, Australia has the hardest border policies in the world that I know of, you know, in the first world. So it wasn't ever going to be an easy gig. So why he'd think he could swan in and no one would notice, I don't know. Yes.
Right, delusional.
It was delusional. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wasn't seeing things clearly. Wow. Okay. So that's Djokovic. Now we're going to America.
Yeah.
A bit of America. So this is coming from Isadora. So can Joe Biden do an executive order regarding the filibuster or voting rights?
Yes, I want to know. I've been meaning to ring it. I'll move to my normal cards.
Oh, I'm having the cards just fall out. I'll reveal that. I'll reveal. Let's see if that card is relevant. Oh, look what's at the bottom of the deck.
Biden,
The cards are just tuning in. Hierophants.
Oh.
All right, so Joe Biden. Can Joe Biden executive order his way in regards to voting rights and the filibuster?
Can he do the executive order?
Oh my God, this is so weird. I've got like cards back. Look, I've literally got cards back to front and I didn't even realize I was shuffling with my eyes closed. Oh dear. I'll just get myself sorted, folks. Please talk amongst yourselves. Dianne,
yes.
Go, let rip.
Dianne, what do you reckon?
So mine's kind of a mixed bag, to be honest with you. It's going to be interesting to watch this unfold. I think he's going to try. You know, he's going to try for that new beginning. You know, he's going to try to bring more enlightenment, right? That sort of thing. But the obstacle is, you know, this is my card for change. And so that's not great, you know, given the question that we're trying to answer, that the obstacle is he's going to be able to make significant change that we need. I think he's going to seek other counsel. I think, you know, he's going to try to gather, you know, the troops, get, you know, others in politics to help him. However, you know, there's a lot of stress, anxiety, worry surrounding this, and a lot of grief and sorrow. So
it's not looking
he's
marvelous.
definitely going to try. He's going to give it his all, I think. But I think it's going to be it's an uphill battle he's facing, I think. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Okay, Lady G, what do you have for us?
Well, in the center of it, I got springtime. I think he needs to go through the thaw first. Because what we have here is, you know, talking about it, looking deeper into it. He's going to be vocal about it. And it's something that he's working on. And I think he's checking with people because he's looking into past stuff, you know, what's possible, what's not possible. And he's feeling embattled, with the whole thing. So, it looks like it's up in the air, and he's same with Dianne, getting counseling on what he can do and what he can't do, and how this would fare. Okay. But I get the spring card, so maybe if he's able to, he wouldn't be able to do anything until springtime.
Right. Okay, Lena, what do you get?
Well, I think he's definitely talking with people, but Pelosi, the Queen of Pentacles, and I think Merrick Garland, King of Wands, are going, oh, don't go there because it creates this precedent and do. And I think they're the two that are actually not keen on the idea. I think some sort of compromise will be reached, but I'm not sure if it's a compromise on the filibuster bill or a compromise between the ones who are symbolically discouraging it and maybe others who say, look, we've got to do something. They can't go into 22 with nothing on the plate, right?
Right.
He needs to pull out his best magician act here. He needs to be seen as decisive and powerful, and the ability to actually, will save democracy in America. I don't think is too much of an overstatement. So you've got this being weighed against doing the right thing, you know, that thing about Dems being really decent, which is such a handicap in the modern world.
They just need to get over it quick time. Oh, we've just gone to over 1,000 joining us now. So thank you guys.
All 1,000 of you.
We've broken 1,000 again. That's wonderful. All right, folks. All right, I've got some cards here. And as you know, now I don't want too many people to throw too many eggs at the screen because, as you know, I've been saying for quite a while, haven't I? I've been saying Ketu, snip, snip, has been going through Biden's first house. And I said his approval rating will go down. Yeah? And it has, hasn't it? Now, will it bounce back? We will have to see, but I'm not so sure because that Ketu over his sun has not become exact yet.
Oh,
but
God.
it will on the 1st of February. On the 1st of February. So let's say January 31st, going on to the 1st of February, it will be exact. Yeah.
So in other words, that'd be his worst sort of time.
Potentially.
And then hopefully
we will have to see. This can go either one or of two ways. Yeah. And this is why this is so important, because when you have Ketu going over the sun, what does the sun represent? The sun represents our vitality, our energy, our kingdom, our sense of leadership. The sun deals with leadership. Government figures, it also deals with presidents. So if you have your nation's president with Ketu going over his sun, this can show there might be something to do with his authority or his vitality that could be affected. Also, as well, in sidereal Capricorn, not Aquarius, sidereal Capricorn, there is a stellium of 5 planets in the sidereal Capricorn on the same day.
Oh.
Whenever you get a stellium like that, it means great emphasis. Capricorn is about the government. It's about government infrastructure, distribution systems of all kinds. Now, this can go either one of 2 ways. Either this will be a spiritual epiphany where Biden just gives the speeches of his life and he absolutely rips the tail out of everything and just goes for it, almost like one of the nodes of the moon, which deal with what? Fate and destiny. He has to either come in and step up to the plate and go gangbusters, or will he be consumed by what is going on in terms of the overall governments around the world? Look, we've just talked about Boris, haven't we?
Right.
Look at what's going on in China. This is all going to be happening in China's first house, by the way. They have a Capricorn ascendant. So China's going to have the stellium in its first house. America's going to have it in the second house. Food, resources. I think one of the things that may potentially scupper Biden, as hard as he's trying, but there is going to be things, inflation. Yeah, for sure. I said there was a big eclipse, lunar eclipse, and I said this means food. Yeah, food and issues. And I said, what? There'll be problems for the Queen. Look what's happened. She's had to, Prince Andrew, we can try and squeeze in, but he's basically an ordinary citizen now. She had to get rid of him from the family. So do you see these energies? So he's reaching the point now in his presidency where he has to do something dramatic, or it will go the other way. Anyway, I just had to get that bit out, and we need to talk a bit about Russia as well. So in regards to Biden, look at that. Chariot. So the cards are saying push forward. This is no time to be timid. He needs to be bold, forthright, and literally throw people under the bus. Yeah, this is the bus coming. So is he going to be under the bus, or is it going to be other people that should have been run over ages ago? Yeah, there's that. But look at the obstacle. He's hesitating.
Yes.
He's hesitating. For some reason, he is not sure what to do in this situation, even though it seems to be abundantly clear to all of us. Why? Why is he hesitating? So he's probably asking lots of questions, seeking a lot of advice. Who do we see here? I think this is Pelosi. Yeah. Queen of Wands, potentially coming to the rescue. Now, I think she's delayed his nation address, isn't it? Address to America until the 1st of March, isn't it? 1st of March. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently Pelosi has scheduled his address to the nation, I forget the proper word, for 1st of March, apparently. And I've had a look at that, and there's a lot of stelliums going on there too. So Biden is going to have to do some of the speeches of his life. Why? Because of the burdens. I think he's feeling the pressure. Yeah, he's feeling the pressure. Because think about it. Look, unfortunately, the reality of modern day life, particularly with social media and all this feedback, is that life is a bit of a popularity contest, particularly when you're in politics. And his numbers are not good. I don't care who anyone is. He's still a human being. No one wants to be at approval ratings of 33%, where you're hovering around where Trump's worst numbers were. And you have Trump, who is a sociopath, who's basically doing better in the polls. That cannot feel good. And when we look here for my outcome card, look at that. This is the devil reverse. We know that this card is bad news whenever it comes. I mean, there's some good sides, but not many. And when it's reversed, this can actually refer to psychopathy, illness, a real reversal of fortunes and stuff like that. So I'm worried that the issues with supply chains, the issues with inflation, as life gets more expensive, this could all be blamed. Yeah.
Yep. And it will.
This is what I because look, this is people blaming. This is like a card of blame. It's not rational. Yeah. This can also mean like trying to heal and recover, but really we know what this means. We know who these characters are that will be doing what have you. So my final thing is that Biden is coming into a point of destiny where it is extraordinarily important that he gets this right, because that Ketu going over the sun is not good, and it can only go one of two ways. And we're also in Kala Sarpa Yoga, time serpent yoga. This is why all this craziness has happened. Has anyone ever seen a prime minister being mocked and ridiculed like that outside of his own home? Everyone, there's an element of farce, an element of cray-cray about it all. So he needs to really step up. He needs to be the chariot, because he's running out of time, unfortunately. I know, not the most positive message, but I just had to say it how I see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we move on to something else?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we talk about Putinshka? Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Now, I want us to read on this because I had a very unusual experience the other day, a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know if anyone's heard of this, but they talk about psychic phenomena and being able to hear things on the wind. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this, but I'll just share this story. I was asleep. It was about 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and there was windy outside, and my window rattled like that, really strongly. And I heard in my mind, there will be war in Europe. And I'm like, Now, you guys will probably know I was on Milo's show recently. We talked about Putinshka. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to do. And there is an element where he wants to posture. He's very strategic. He wants sanctions lifted off. Like you said, the money. But he is extremely cunning. And he may try and trigger something by making it look like someone else did it, which I think is what he was talking about. So we're in a tricky time where he may try and go for something. I'm hoping he would prefer to get the negotiations going, but shall we read on that? Will Putin go to war?
And I'd just like to chip in here. I am not a supporter of sanctions. You know, like Iran is heavily sanctioned, as is Russia. Who does that affect? Ordinary people. Rich people and the oligarchs wouldn't even know there were sanctions. You know, their lives go. So I don't agree with sanctions as a political measure. And the West, it's disastrous if they just keep punishing the people. Because what happens then? People are suffering, and their corrupt leader can always say, see, this is what the West is doing to you. So it actually fulfills, instead of people's energy getting focused into getting rid of their corrupt leader, they mentally feel they've got to defend that corrupt leader because look what other people are doing to us. So it's doubly stupid. It's cruel and it's stupid.
Seems to feed a narrative, doesn't it? But what are the alternatives, though? Lena, how do you feel that the West, or those that are trying to bring countries into line, what other methods do you think they could use that would maybe be more effective?
You could try talking.
God forbid.
Indeed. Oh, this is.
I know it's radical.
Yeah. Indeed. What do you have for us, Dianne? What do you have?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so first of all, the moon card. So I think, we're sort of in the dark. We're trying to figure things out. We're trying to figure out what is he doing. We're not seeing things clearly from our perspective because he's all about secrets and hidden agendas. I mean, he's very good at that. He was in the KGB. He knows what he's doing. And so we're in the dark, but, I don't think he is. He hasn't fully made up his mind yet. So for his obstacle is he's still trying to figure out exactly how he's going to do what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like jostling things a bit, like quite literally. And it's interesting that I get my card for juggling money overseas. And being an American, this is overseas. He is doing things with money. He's trying to get others involved. He's trying to, I think, pay others off. He has, secret agendas, hidden motives, which I think goes right back to that moon card. But those around him are pretty conflicted. I don't know if everyone around him agrees. If his closest advisors are saying, yay, this is great, or there's a lot of like bickering going back and forth about how to do it. I mean, I kind of feel like it's more than likely something's going to happen, because I can kind of feel like something's going to happen. But I think the question is exactly how. And then I do get the Devil card.
Oh.
So this is my card for sort of like sinfulness and, doing those evil kind of things. And I think, this is an apt card for him. And so, I think he is thinking of doing something fiendish that is going to have a real effect on people. Unfortunately.
The puppet master, puppet master casting spells.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, Lady G, what do you have for us?
What I get from underneath of it all, he's alone and kind of looking about wanting to start an action and, of course, abuse of power. So he's trying to figure out underneath of it all, can I get away with it? Can I do this? So what we have is feeling embattled. We have, again, all this drama coming up. Truth is coming out, but the wheel is hitting with it, and it's going to come down to wish fulfilling, but money, that type of thing. I think it's going to come down to that. So, he's trying to judge if he could get away with it, but he's already been outed for what he's trying to do. So, I don't think he's going to pull that. If he could get away with it, he would. Yeah.
Wow. Lena, what do you have to share with us?
Yes. Well, he has some worries, right? This is the Seven of Swords aimed at the back of the Emperor, i.e. him. The thing with Putin is he's famously really paranoid, right? He trusts no one. And there's a reason for that. Now, excuse me. Russia, we always think of as this huge, powerful country, but in fact, it's lost all its satellite countries. It's not that powerful. The economy is only the size of Sweden. Roughly.
Really? Oh,
isn't that smacking, right?
Wow.
So you've actually got this quite modest economy servicing this huge war machine. And so he's going to pull out the usual magician card that all dictators or whatever use, which is a war. When in doubt, cause a war, right?
Yeah.
Conventional wisdom, it's always worked for 2,000 years. Why wouldn't you give it a whirl? But I don't know that it's going to be so successful for him. Strategically, he's weighing up, will he do this or not? Because he's not actually stupid. He's paranoid, but he's not stupid.
No, he's not stupid.
And
I've
he's
done
feeling threatened.
He's very smart guy.
And so the fact that the average Russian has now seen all this money leave the country, we know that because Russians have bought up everywhere all over the world, the oligarchs, not your everyday Russian. And so he's finally realized, I'm going to have to pull off this thing because I have to keep them on board. Right. This is a moment, a turning point for Russia itself.
Wow.
Are they going to accept this dynamic again? And even if he was ousted, replaced with another similar or not? This is huge. We're at a real huge thing. Here's the key. Money. in fact, maybe do something with the oligarch money and let people at least see a bit of currency, you know.
Right.
This is the thing everywhere, isn't it? They steal everything.
Steal everything.
They were smart. They'd let
Gobble.
people have a life and then take the cream, but they never do. They take the whole jug, always.
Right.
And this is what Russia's dealing with. The key is the money.
Wow. Fascinating. So we've been, before I respond, we're up to 1,200. 1,200 of you have joined us. I think that's a record.
1,200 progressive, scintillating people. Thank you.
You need one of those little popper things that you pull.
I know. You know. I was thinking of wearing a party hat today as well, in honor of Boris, of course.
Oh, yes. We're not working here. We're partying. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. I was thinking maybe I should bring a big bottle of wine with me tonight. But I mean, I've been singing karaoke, so I've actually decided to have a cup of tea. But it's craziness. I'll just do a few readouts. So we've got Giacanda Thomas, we've got Carol Michael, Suzanne Chacan, Karen Johnson, and so many more. Christopher Guala, and many, many more. There's too many of you to read out.
Brilliant.
But we're so glad that you're here. All right. So look at the theme that emerged. And we're all singing off the same hymn sheet as usual. And isn't it funny that we were talking about Putin, who is probably closetly one of the richest men on earth, who really is. He could literally, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he was a trillionaire. It really wouldn't.
Yeah.
So, but look at this. The poverty card comes up and it's reversed. Now, this is showing about being outcast, you know, feeling out in the cold and all that kind of stuff, which is sort of like his main bugbear anyway. What's he always complaining about? NATO. He's feeling encroached upon. But this is when you've really hit the skids, you're kind of like, this is a liquidity problem here. It's interesting in our readings that the pentacles were coming up. So could it be, I feel like this is the Russian economy. I think this is the Russian economy. I think this is the like you said, the average person really struggling, and it's not looking good. I think he's more than intelligent enough to know that it's a problem and he needs to sort it out. So here, but in the obstacle position, we have the King of Swords, which of course is legal matters, etc., and stuff like that. But let's see, is this really what he's up to? Which I feel it is. He's trying to negotiate a position. Or negotiate, because this is about being forthright and, being clear with the facts and stuff like that, but it's turned in the obstacle position. Does he feel he doesn't really have the arguments to justify going to war yet? Because maybe he can't afford it. Maybe he can't afford it. Maybe he's playing, the sharp, strong man image, cold and rational, moving his troops around, his toy soldiers, because really what he wants, maybe he wants to celebrate a deal with others.
This is what I mean by talking, let them have the pipeline with Germany and stuff, encourage economic interaction. It's healthier for his economy, and also it's cheaper than a war.
Right. And it may neutralize things, because once a bit of money is coming in.
Exactly. People are less likely to go to war with a trading partner. Hello.
Absolutely. And it's going to boost his self-esteem, because this is the first card that came out. Really, he's feeling quite wounded and quite insulted. Remember, he's been complaining a lot about that. So he wants to move forward. He wants to move forward at pace, but it has to be in the right direction. In what direction should he move? Because Lena, of course, got the Two of Swords. And isn't it interesting here? We've got the King of Pentacles, but reversed. This is greedy people. Oligarchs. There's something here to do with the oligarchs. That is actually affecting Putin, which is something we don't know about. I think this is a dialogue behind the scenes where there is a tug of war between who gets the most power, where that money is going, because like Lena says, Russian money has been being laundered and cleaned out for decades now, since the 90s. Yeah,
Yes,
you
absolutely.
can't have your economy being constantly hollowed out in that way.
By 25 people, you know, or
Absolutely.
120, who knows?
So really, what I'm thinking is, I think the oligarchs are actually becoming a real problem for Putin, because it's affecting Russia's standing on the main stage. So he has to do his strongman thing, but it's like the oligarchs are like woodworm.
Yes.
He's sitting on his chair, but they're nibbling away, and at some point that chair has to collapse. And I think this is why he's wanting to push forward with something, trying to make out that it's something to do with war, when really deep down he wants trade, because these oligarchs have been slowly bleeding him dry. How about that?
Yeah. And I've felt for a while now he's on the skids. I doubt he's got another year or two left. I think
Really? Wow.
One way or another, even if it's replacing him with another worse creature, or hopefully a better creature. But either way, I think Putin's gone.
Wow. Well, this is fascinating. So I'm seeing the time. I think we've got time for one more question.
Okay.
So let's just go with the obvious. Yeah, let's just go with the obvious, and let's ask, because what will be the future of China? Yeah.
Oh, that's a big question.
All these stelliums are going to be in sidereal Capricorn. Yeah. Which means that this is China's first house. What's the first house? It deals with the physical body. So this is the embodiment of China. It deals with the constitution, health, personality, innate inspirations, first impressions, appearance to the world. So obviously we can't take this as a personal reading, but China is having stelliums in its body. And whenever you've got a lot of planets in your first house, it means a lot of change, a change of image, something tumultuous, things being churned over. So I want to see what you have. What is the future of China?
Shall we put a wafty time frame, like in the next 2 years or something like that?
Yeah. Let's say in the next 2 years. I think that's really what in the next 2 years. Oh, cards wanting to jump out.
All right, shall I go?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so my cards are a bit ominous. I sort of went into this reading rather neutral, not knowing what to expect, but the very first card that I get is the Tower. So I don't think things are going to be easy for them initially. I think that maybe in some ways they've overplayed their hand. They've certainly overstepped a lot of boundaries. And their obstacle is temperance, doing things in moderation, peace and harmony, balance. I think you're going to find a lot of the Chinese are looking for smoother waters. And who in particular? The younger generation.
Wow.
They may not be willing to deal with some of these changes and some of these things that are going on that they just don't agree with. There's hidden agendas, secret motives, things going on behind the scenes.
Wow.
At some point, I think their economy is, because we're looking out 2 years. So at some point, and this is further out in my reading, their economy is going to take a hit, leaving the people feeling burdened and oppressed. So my reading wasn't very positive. So I think they're in for a challenging time.
Absolutely. Lady G, what do you have for us?
Well, at the center of everything, they're trying to work with others, but it's not going well. Okay. Underneath of it all, we've got the swords in the back. Going into it, we have temperance, trying to temper things, but things are heating up when it comes to feeling embattled. Going forward, they're going to try to have some sort of a new path, but their cup, rather than runneth over, it's running out.
Wow.
So
Wow.
resources running out, and the new path forward is not going to bode so well.
Incredible. 1300, by the way. We just hit 30.
Ooh.
Lena, what do you
Yes.
have for us? And you are geographically closer as well, so it'd be very interesting to
And
see.
China is our biggest trading partner and stuff. Even though with a colonial education, when I went to school, we learnt about the Far East, which is in fact our near north. That's the colonial education for you. It took us 180 years to work that out. But moving right along. Okay. Crossroads time.
You have two of swords? Is that two? Yeah.
Okay. In so many ways. I think environmentally and everything else. Now, the success story. She has provided stability with the Four of Wands, right? The Empress, individually, the middle class has exploded by the million, delivered on all that. But here's the Father of Pentacles, and which is interesting because it's a Chinese figure on a horse.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think this is those who have been left behind, as always happens in these things. So if you look at China as a physical thing, all around the outside has done brilliantly well economically, blah, 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 but the middle hasn't, and it can't feed itself. And that's always a problem. Okay.
Right.
The Empress, just going back to that card, was this expansion, but sometimes what I'd call hollow expansion. So, for example, they were building a university a week in China 20 years ago, right? But it wasn't, none of them were staffed, and they weren't actually, there are many good universities in China, but these were like Trump universities and said, look, we've got all these new universities, but there was no staff and no students.
There was
this radical expansion that was hollow. Okay. So now they're going to have to look with the fishing rod. Where are we? With the fishing rod, this really back to basics thing. And immediate outcome I got was the 8 of Cups, or this particular government could lose popularity, particularly with women. And here's a woman with one child. Now, lest we forget the one-child policy. That's coming on stream now. Can you imagine the social distortion of the one-child policy? Because there was state abortion, most wanted male children. So like 80% of the children were male. So you're going to end up with these little princes who can't find wives and girlfriends or boyfriends. And I think this is something that we've all forgotten a bit, right? And yet this, for such a huge population, that's a massive distortion that China has to deal with and to be part of the world, which is what young people want, instead of, the secrecy and all of that stuff. They need to engage with the world.
Wow.
So that's what I got.
Wow. So I just want to say thank you, Catherine Winston, for your donation and many others that came in. I tried to flick them up.
Guys. I thought the cards would be much more militant about Chinese aggression in the Pacific and other places, but they went in a really different direction. Yeah.
Indeed. So I see here we've got a couple of minutes before the end of the show, so I'll try and be quick. So this is about China. So here we are. King of Wands reversed. King of Wands is basically about what? Business. So it's this way. It's like, business is not looking so hot. It's not looking as good as China would like to believe or project to the rest of the world. We know it's a proud entrepreneurial nation. Look at this. Choices being made. But look, the underwear is in a twist. Yeah. I can't remember. What is it called? What is the name for when you've got a knot in your underwear and it's really uncomfortable? I can't remember. There's a slang word for it. But anyway.
Really? Not a wedgie. A wedgie.
That's it. They've got a wedgie in their economy. Yeah. And they're like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do about this? Now, part of what is that problem is that they're stuck in the past. They've got this idea of back in the heyday of communism, similar in a way, maybe to a certain Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
But also as well, this is also about youth as well. This is about the younger generation. Could it be the younger generation are starting to have second thoughts about all of the control, because they've got internet as well, and it doesn't matter how much you try to blanket.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you clamp down on it.
Yeah, you can see out. So what are they doing? They're trying to get away with something. Yeah. Which is, there we are, you know, they're trying to get away with something, which we've all worked out by now, but it's on multiple fronts. However, they're looking out to the world and prospecting. And I think China is reevaluating its relationship with the outside world, because I don't think this backward looking nostalgic approach is really working anymore, because it's too late. We're all interconnected. China is the manufacturer of almost everyone, so they can no longer be like, oh, like in the past, up yours, everyone. We don't need you. No, we're all interconnected. This is also can deal with the trade routes, the supply chain issues, which have been emanating from everywhere. Also, as well, there's certain things China's doing that people don't know about. They are stockpiling grain, and there's also reducing the amount of phosphates for fertilizers in the world. There's a lot more going on underneath the surface, and of course, potentially trying to get away with other things as well. I won't elaborate more than that, but people can use their imagination for what potentially those things might be. So,
just before we finish, Miss Patricia points out about polling numbers. You know that Biden's got these tragic numbers. I don't think we can trust polling anymore, because they poll people with landlines, you know, and who has a landline.
Right.
So, you know, they keep polling the same 150 people who have a landline.
Right.
You know?
That is a very good point. You know, when I speak about Biden, you know, I want everyone to know, I hope that I am wrong, but it's my job here as the astrologer, because if we look at the magician card in tarot, what does it say? It's that hermetic truth, as above, so below. And we have seen how things have panned out, and he's really coming to this moment, excuse my French, which we call in the UK, and I have it in Australia as well. It's called shit or bust. Yeah. But I mean, but this is it. He's gonna have Ketu exactly over his sun at 9 a.m. Washington time on the 1st of February, while there's also a stellium in government. This is very ominous. It's declamatory. It means something big has to happen. So he really needs to take this moment and go with the best of it, because we can see what's going on in the world. Russia is unsure. China is unsure. People, when countries are unsure and they're not secure about themselves, it can get a bit dangerous.
Yes, exactly.
True.
But I hope I'm wrong. And as usual, we had a wonderful time. So I just want to thank Dianne, Lady G, and of course, Lena for being here. Wasn't this fabulous? The feedback has been excellent.
Really enjoyed it. And thank you so many of you for turning up at whatever time of the day or night it is for you. Thank you.
Record breaking. So look, we need to end, because Diane's got to go. She's well, I'm not going to say, but you know, she needs to go. Other plans.
With my fiance, yes.
Indeed. So that's perfectly understandable. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us again. It was a fabulous show. We're obviously going to have to do this again at some point. And thank you to everyone who also donated and all the comments. We love it. And thank you so much. And we will see you next week.
See you guys.
See you. Bye. Bye-bye.